All right, everybody, welcome to SanDiego.Futbol, Two Balls and a Mic. You just watched our end of the year awards, and we had some breaking news. So Abe and I are joining in real quick to talk about the big news that was just announced a minute ago. Abe, Kailen Sheridan and San Diego Wave agreed to terminate their contract.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts on that, Abe?
It's honestly insane. I would not have expected that at the beginning of this offseason. She is the captain. She's the most tenured player. I think it's fair to say she was the face of the team. And she's honestly become a pretty big figure in the world of San Diego sports, San Diego women's sports especially. She goes and supports everything. And to mutually agree to terminate the contract, this is going to be a huge change for San Diego.
Yeah, no, it is insane. It comes to a complete shock to everybody. We kind of heard about this yesterday and we still couldn't believe it. I mean, I've been kind of saying that, maybe Wave could move on from Sheridan. I will say this, maybe the style that Jonas Eidevall has is not the best suited for Sheridan. But at the end of the day, she's a world-class goalkeeper. If you're terminating her contract, you have to have some sort of backup plan. I mean, is Didi still under contract right now? Who's their goalkeeper as of now?
They don't have anyone under contract announced as of this moment. They could potentially have people in mind or already be in negotiations and stuff. But when we heard the rumor yesterday, my first thought is okay, usually we hear a lot of rumors and then you start going through the process. Okay, how real can this be? Does this make sense for San Diego? Does this make sense for the player? For the player, I guess it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, she's a new parent, so usually those type of players tend to prefer stability. But does San Diego really need to be losing such an important key piece like Sheridan when something they've needed for such a long time is stability, especially after the way 2024 went? I think Kailen Sheridan was a huge part of bringing the success of what they did back in 2022 into 2025. I think she kind of talked about that and helped foster that in. And now for her to be leaving, I think they really just kind of believe in themselves, I guess, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you need to have some sort of plan. As of now, you don't have a goalkeeper.
They have to have a plan. They're not just gonna go out without a goalkeeper, but
I hope so, man, because I mean the way this is playing out, it seems like Sheridan, maybe we were talking about it a little bit, right? You mentioned maybe she wanted a contract extension, and Wave said, well, that's not really in our capacities right now. So pretty much Sheridan wanted maybe a raise, and Wave said, not right now. All right, let me go then. The crazy part is that it's not a transfer. It's just a contract termination. You could have gotten something out of her if you traded her to, say, the new Denver franchise or anything, or Boston, or anything like that. But that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I would not be surprised either if she ends up with one of those expansion franchises. I think that just in looking what would be a good landing spot for her, that would make the most sense is either Boston or Denver, just because she proved what an exceptional expansion team goalkeeper she can be, and she's a really important leader on any team she's a part of. Even with Canada, she's a pretty important leader. So being able to foster that in a new environment, I think that would really suit her. But to let her go with no transfer, no trade, nothing is really surprising. We've seen it not often, but definitely it's more common in the women's game than in the men's game. But you would think that with such a high caliber player, there would be something that the team would get from this.
Yeah, no, this is their captain, Abe. This is the team's captain that they just let go. They're sending a message that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are. they can just terminate the contract and say, we'll find somebody else to do your job. And I don't know. I don't know if this is the best move for Wave to do this offseason. It's definitely a shock.
This
And I think we'll get more details as time passes on.
this could potentially be another, like, we are saying this like from the Wave standpoint right now. This could be a Naomi Girma, Jaden Shaw situation where maybe the player wanted to leave more than the team wanted her to, but we're not really going to know until some time passes, and Kailen probably shares that side of the story. But like she's always been pretty good to us in interviews and talking and stuff, and even in the press conferences, she's always given us a lot. She's talked crap to Tony a couple times. Like it's gonna be suck to see a player like her leave, especially like such an important leader. Like I'm I'm still just kind of in shock right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wonder who she was just hosting the podcast for San Diego Wave as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there now. I mean, she's done so much for the community as well here in San Diego. Like you can tell she loved being here in San Diego. So, I mean, I wonder if it's a matter of maybe she wants to play in a championship level team, which it almost seemed like Wave's almost there. But I don't know, man. We've seen so many crazy things happen in this league. I can see her maybe leaving the NWSL, but I think that would be a stretch too. But
I
maybe
mean,
she goes
it's
to the WSL.
yeah, like the way that the whole like high impact player rule has been playing out, and just compensation on a whole in the NWSL is kind of just not in a good place at all right now. That it would make a lot of sense for her to like go overseas and potentially get paid a fair market value over there. Whereas a lot of these NWSL teams are kind of haggling. It seems like they're haggling with players and saying, "Well, we need you to fit into our expansion, into our salary cap and stuff." And it's like, I don't think players should really have to care about that. It's like, oh, we want you to take a pay cut so we can have a better team. And it's like other teams across the pond don't really have to deal with that stuff. So that could definitely be a factor as well. You're right.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, anyone we know this for sure. San Diego Wave will have a new starting goalkeeper this upcoming season, and
Yeah.
no idea who that will be. But I wouldn't expect a big name to be the starting goalkeeper for San Diego Wave next season.
Yeah, and now Kristen McNabb is the only original player left
That's
on this Wave side. It's kind of crazy. Who do you think becomes the next captain? Because I think that's kind of a big thing now.
has to be Kenta Dali. Kenta Dali.
Really?
Have you been pleading for Kenta Dali to wear the captain armband? And I think that's a no-brainer. I think she has to be the leader and the face of this club now. She came in and just took over that midfield, took over the leadership role, and I think she has to be the face of the team moving forward.
I agree in like principle, but who I think they're gonna probably put as the captain is Kennedy Wesley.
I can see that. I can see that. Like
She,
Jonas
she
Eidevall really likes her.
Yeah, she's important as their center back, and also playing with the U.S. Women's National Team offers more marketability, which is something that NWSL teams really highly value and stuff. And that could like become a huge thing as far as like players being compensated too, if like the whole hip rule comes into play. I don't know if you saw that, Chiva. Like, there's only like 100 players that fit into this new salary cap mechanism,
Yeah.
and I think only Delphine Cascarino was the only one that would fit under that. So like technically next year they could switch her contract into that salary cap area so that they could pay other players more. Cause so her contract would only count against that specific salary cap, which is like technically like TAM, if MLS terms, is not really a DP. It's
Yeah.
like TAM, but we're I'm sure we'll be able to talk about that in the
It's
coming days when we find more stuff out.
Yeah, it's a very unique way or direction that the league is going into, to be honest. At the end of the day, like you gotta pay the players what they're worth. And there's a lot of players that are worth a lot more money than what they're getting right now in the NWSL. So I hope the NWSL does kind of figure that out and head into the right direction. But man, for Kailen Sheridan, I do wonder what her side of things are. Well, I mean, we're definitely going to be sending a couple messages to try to get her on the pod as a guest soon. We don't have to go through the club anymore for that. So, maybe a couple DMs to her, seeing if she's willing to hop on and give her side of things here. But at the end of the day, like I think it's a huge blow for San Diego Wave.
Yeah, just from a consistency standpoint, for sure. When you made the playoffs last season, I think a lot of times you want to build on what you already had to try and like grow and make it into something other, but to like take such a I think she's like one of the major pieces of the foundation in San Diego. So they really must believe in what they're building now to allow a player like that to leave, and it's going to be really fascinating to see how the rest of this offseason turns out, because I think this is like the first shot across the bow. Like I maybe it was Hannah Lundqvist leaving. She seemed like she always wanted to be on her way out, but now with this move, it seems like no one's really safe.
Yeah, no, it raises a lot of questions for me. Look, I will say this. Looking at it, right, I'm not gonna say Kailen Sheridan was the perfect goalkeeper last season. I think she struggled a lot playing with her feet on the transition and the transitions. I think she made a lot of mistakes, which cost San Diego Wave a lot of goals against them. Uh, but what she lacked there, she made up in her leadership. She made up in her shot stopping ability. That's where you really kind of counted on Kailen Sheridan. So I wonder if Jonas Eidevall will try to look into the way of a more up to date goalkeeper where they're playing out with their feet more, which is kind of like where the world of soccer is really heading into. Goalkeepers are essentially a last center back.
Mhm.
So I wonder if they'll go in that direction.
Yeah, Sheridan can play with the feet, but it's definitely more of the long ball.
Yeah,
And yeah, they
it's
really don't really do that anymore, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. No,
so
it's been a struggle for her there, but we'll see where she ends up. I'm not surprised. Any team that gets her will be lucky to have her in their team. Like she is a one of the best goalkeepers in the world. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, I can see her going to another NWSL team. I can see her going overseas. So it's a shocker, man. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see San Diego Wave fans' reactions to this, but I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be heartbroken.
oh yeah, like from the impact on the community standpoint, she was one of the main ones, always getting with the sirens, always she was the first one out there, because just goalkeepers do have to train earlier, but she would like basically be in the stands the whole, and always like spending so much time after games too. Like we've waited in these press conferences and stuff, and like they've always said like she's gonna be out there signing as many jerseys as she can, taking as many selfies as she can. It's really gonna be such a like big difference in that front. I do hope some of the other players step up in that area, because she was so important to the fans in that way.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, uh, huge miss here for San Diego Wave,
Yeah.
but let's see if they rebuttal and see. I mean, at the end of the day, the way they shut everyone up is just performing good
Mhm.
next season. Uh, but yeah, no, it's a shocker.
They
So
did that, and they did that for the 2025 season. I think we all kind of expected a big drop in form when you see the loss of Jaden Shaw, the loss of Naomi Girma. We all expected something different, and they kind of shut us all up. They performed really well to start the year. They almost had like a complete collapse, but they stopped that collapse at a certain point, and they showed they could still perform at a high level. I definitely am not gonna be. I don't think it's fair to like freak out as much as we did with like the Jaden Shaw and Naomi Girma thing. So they've earned enough trust to wonder, okay, let's see what they're going. But if this ends up backfiring on them, it's gonna be a huge mistake.
100%. I mean, first thing I need to see from Wave announcing soon is a new goalkeeper, like the starting goalkeeper. So
Yeah,
that
it
that's
seems like maybe there's now you have the opportunity for like a true goalkeeper competition too. That'll be an interesting storyline to follow. Like maybe they don't sign a premier goalkeeper, they sign two goalkeepers and see which one wins out at the end of the Coachella Valley Invitational. It could be
yeah.
nuts.
It's just crazy because I feel like with the NWSL, like you need a great goalkeeper to compete. Like if you don't have a great goalkeeper that can make like those crazy saves, you can struggle a bit. Uh, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe Jonas Eidevall knows a player from WSL or overseas that wants to come over to play in San Diego. So I think that's one of the keys about Jonas Eidevall, that he does have a lot of connections in the women's game overseas. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a player from Europe.
Yeah. And just as far as other San Diego women's soccer news goes, Mia Van Zanten announced to sign with the Wave. She's a left back from Florida State, won NCAA championship two of the last 3 years. That's another really good player.
Yeah.
Wave tend to add college defenders too, which I think is an interesting trend. Maybe they just like trust that over time their development can work out well. I think it started with Naomi Girma, Sierra Angie, Kennedy Wesley. Last year was Quincy McMahon and Nia Harrison. So I wouldn't be surprised if they add another defender as well. I think there was a rumored signing that's going to happen soon. I think I wouldn't be surprised if something gets announced soon in that front. And then
there's going to be more moves being announced by Wave in the next coming days as well. And like what we know from Wave, you're right, Abe. They do like to
bunch stuff up,
like diamond in the rough type, or like long shot players that are coming straight out of college, like hoping to replicate what Naomi Girma was. But I mean, I think Wave will find out soon enough that doing that consistently is going to be very difficult. Like not every player you get out of college is going to be a Naomi Girma or a generational talent. Like some of these players are going to be amazing in college, and then they're going to have an average career. And that's just the reality of the game.
And you do need average players though.
100%. And those average players are the ones that can win you a championship too. Like having a solid roster can get you very far. So we'll see what happens. Abe, anything else for Wave?
Not for Wave, but from Tigres, Mia Villapondo. She decommitted from UCLA and is going to be signing a professional contract with Tigres. That's a pretty big deal. I think we've been kind of in like following, just seeing her career since she was like probably like 16 or something, like just from all those highlights and stuff, playing with the with the Mexico under 16, under 17. She's played with the senior national team too. That's going to be a huge player to continue to follow. I wouldn't be surprised she ends up NWSL at some point. But
from Chula Vista? No, right?
She's from Chula Vista. Yeah, she went to Mater Dei Catholic, I believe.
Yeah, no, I mean, talk about generational talents now.
Yeah, she's gonna be. She's a really great player.
Yeah, no, it's always a scary move leaving the college route to go pro, because I mean, at the end of the day, college gives you an education, gives you the degree to have as a backup. But I mean, when you're that good, you have to go pro. Like, it's just a no-brainer. School will always be there, and you can go back.
It's fascinating too from like the Mexico standpoint. This is like Liga MX Femenil, and Tigres especially, because they're the powerhouses. We know at the very least they're offering enough that it's kind of the same thing that happens in the men's side, where it's like, hey man, you can go play for the Selección. You just got to play for one of these top Liga MX teams and stay in that system. And it definitely seems like it's more positive, at least on the women's side right now, because they're kind of supporting the development of the Mexican national team, or instead of like hindering its development, because they're letting players like Jackie Ovalle go and play for Orlando, and Maria Sanchez can go up back and forth from, she played at Tigres, went up to Houston, then went to San Diego, then now is back at Tigres. So being able to kind of like move back and forth, it seems like the way that the Mexican women's soccer and its connection to the Selección is in a lot more healthy place than it is on the men's side.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Abe, it was great hopping on to talk about this breaking news for Kailen Sheridan.
Crazy.
Happy birthday to Tony. If you're watching this tonight, send a message to Tony. Happy birthday to you, man.
Yeah, he loves it.
He's driving back from Big Bear, which had a huge snowstorm this weekend, so I'm glad he's safe. But yeah, big news here in San Diego for San Diego Wave. And again, thank you everyone who watched our end of the year awards. Congratulations to all the winners. Make sure you guys tag us on anything. So thank you everyone. Have a great night. Abe, have a good one.
Dude, see you next week, man.
Laters.